This is Almond Alert presented by LMC Manufacturing. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Almond Alert, and this one is a real treat. We get to sit down with our good friend and new Grower Committee Chair, Kelli Evans. She's also our new Member of the Year for 2023. Kelli has this amazing background, a farm girl from Northern California who, well, she doesn't back down from anything. And she'll tell you exactly how it goes and exactly how it went and what you can do about it. So she's a girl after my own heart. It has been a pleasure to get to work with her and get to know her over the last year. And this is a great chance to get to know her a little bit more. Not only her background, but her technical expertise. I don't know that there's anyone outside of a government agency who knows the USDA and CDFA programs inside and out better than her. Her knowledge and her passion for helping growers get the resources they need to stay dynamic, to stay competitive, to stay alive, to thrive is unreal. And her work with Evans Agricultural Consulting, where she literally will hold the hand of her growers and help them maximize these programs and make sure that these programs and these agencies are treating them fairly. But more importantly, and what we're excited about working with her on, is she brings that on the ground real-time knowledge back to us at the Alliance, and we start developing really great and dynamic policy solutions. And as we've talked about so many times before, when we're the ones leading with the solution, we have a better chance of getting the outcome we want and what we need to keep our farmers farming. So Kelli is a sister in arms. She is of one mind and passion about keeping our farmers farming. And like I said, I can't help but love sitting down with a fellow farm girl, especially one who can tell you exactly how it's going to be. So this is a real treat. I hope you enjoy getting to know Kelli Evans. All right, Kelli Evans, chair of the new Grower Committee at the Almond Alliance.
Yes.
Welcome. Thank you for coming down for convention.
Oh, super excited.
Absolutely. This is going to be fun. It's going to be a fun time. And I love that we're here to announce the Grower Committee. And that's really what we kind of want to talk about. Why, we're taking this initiative and this step at the Almond Alliance to engage growers more. I know one of the first things that, coming from a grower perspective, one of the first things I realized, and I think I joked around, was that I just, the almonds left the field and I just stopped paying attention at that point. Like the truck left, It went somewhere, I got a check. Awesome day. But why is it from, what is, now that you're chairing this committee, you've had, I know, a number of meetings really talking about what you want to do with the committee. What are the priorities around the Grower Committee and why now? Because I'm very anti-committee.
Yes.
So,
oh yeah, you totally are.
I'm very anti-committee. So it was a big deal for us to say we're starting a new committee, which takes our grand total to 2.
Yes.
So tell me what's up at the Grower Committee.
So I think what's great about the Grower Committee is a lot of people forget that the Almond Alliance is more than just a wholesaler group, because that's what it used to be. And Almond Alliance has really gone to this new level where we're really focusing on things that directly impact the grower in the field. So if it's programs like Land Flex or the Pollinator Grant, those affect us. And how can we utilize the strong arm of all of us together to really focus on that?
I think too, for me, you're one of the first people I call with all of your experience and work, especially with the different programs, because so often what we're being asked to engage in on the federal level, on the state level, is sometimes like in the budget process. How do we want the program to function better for us? How do we want the program, so often there's these resources out there, and I have definitely have the federal side of it. And I've always joked around that it's kind of like the Robin Hood mentality. I just want to get our taxpayer dollar back out on the ground because we know how to make it work. But those programs are often cumbersome and they turn us off. They're hard to navigate. So often I'm calling you or others out on the field and say, how do I need it to work? And let our team at the Almond Alliance translate that back. Can you talk a little bit more about how we want to create that avenue, that pathway of policy, but starting it from the grower?
Yeah, so this I think is great, is because if you're getting involved, which everyone should be as a grower, because we're all complaining about everything that's going on, I'm getting charged this much, I'm not making this much money, all these policies, but we're not really doing anything about it. This is a really great way that you can put a little bit of effort in, or just helping give your point of direction that you want the Almond Alliance to go. And they're so strong and powerful when we're together that we're making waves, right? Who gets to write the special, Endangered Species Act? Like, no one? Like, how are we getting to do that, right? We're such a strong industry because we're working so much together and at a grower level, I think, is what's important.
I think you're keying in on something. I mean, for us, the North Star has always been this idea of, almonds are a top commodity of the United States. We're one of the fourth largest agricultural exports of the United States by dollar. And yet we've always been the specialty crop. Right? For us, it's about claiming our space and saying, no, we're actually the specialty crop. And we have an expertise. Last year we talked about you don't apologize for being a farmer in California. Own our expertise.
Right.
Our job has been to carve that space out in the policy space and then to bring in these resources to show off our expertise. To your point of, writing policy or directing the program or sitting down and having that and bringing our credibility that comes with us.
Yeah. And I think that's what's important is, you're taking what the Almond Board does, right? Mm-hmm. We do all this marketing. We have all this great research. We have CAS or OSIP and these different programs all throughout the almond industry. But then Almond Alliance is taking it to that different level, like showing that to our lawmakers, showing that we do care about the land. We are doing this every day. We're like, well, I already do this. This is naturally every day's, I have natural cover in my orchards. Like, wow, did you know that that's actually bee pollinator habitat? You don't think of those things. Oh, you mean the bee buckets I put out? Oh, yeah, those are all great things we naturally do. Mm-hmm. But we don't realize that they are really beneficial and how much we can emphasize on how much we do. Mm-hmm. Because no one knows that. No one knows how we're being good stewards of the land. And Almond Alliance takes that information that we give them and really pushes that out so that we have a better understanding of what we're doing.
And I think too that policymakers have a better understanding of what we're doing and start seeing us as a resource when trying to address those issues.
Yeah. So like things like the Land Flex program is huge. Like for them to be giving us money is absurd, right? Mm-hmm. We're at the front of everything. It's the Pollinator Grant, right? Mm-hmm. Putting in habitat. We have SWEEP, we have Healthy Soils, we have all these really wonderful programs to help us, and we want to make sure they stay around. Mm-hmm. So part of that is having the Almond Alliance, making sure we're at the door, we're with those policymakers, knowing that these programs are being beneficial and they're going to good use.
Can you talk a little bit about, maybe just give a description of how we're working together? It's what I do like about the committees or the Tiger teams that we pull together on this is we're taking our teams in Sacramento and in DC and we're going, okay, here's the thing that's popped up. Policymakers got a wild idea. Where do almonds stand on it? How fast can we get our opinion in there, our expertise in there? We just talked to Cole Rajeski from our DC team, and he was talking about the critical nature of building these early relationships so that they know we're a resource to them. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about, what it's like when I call and I say, hey, we got a call in from DC or we got a call in from Sacramento, and how we then run that out to the committee and build that team on the committee to help bring that expertise back.
Yeah. So as a grower, having that ability to say, hey, this doesn't work for us, mm-hmm. right? Or, hey, if we just twist it this way, we could totally make this work, right? Or this is how we do things. So then obviously people like your team and stuff can go, hey, well, if we just tweak it right here, then it actually fits us. And it's not going to really make a change to our everyday operation by having that information go to your team, mm-hmm. and you guys have a better understanding of what our needs are and how we do things.
Right. It's that
down on the ground.
Right. And it's taking what's happening on the ground, mm-hmm. and we're translating that into the regulatory and the policy and all of that. So priority-wise, we've had a lot of conversations. I know you guys have been meeting as well. Where's your focus? What is the instructions of late that you all have been kind of pushing up or getting ready to push our direction a little bit more?
A lot of it just has to do with, whatever new policies kind of coming out. We'll have a new governor that will be mm-hmm. coming soon. So making sure we pass our story on and who the people that are running understand who we are, our needs are, mm-hmm. how we are really being beneficial to the environment, because no matter what team, policy team that gets in there is going to be very proactive in the environmental area. So we want to make sure they know our story mm-hmm. and know how we are doing our part in that area.
Yeah. It's that idea of leading in solution, right?
Yeah. So, and some of the injusticeness, like right now we have, these deadlines, right, for people with electric cars, right? Mm-hmm. And farmers have those for our tractors. Well, electric cars, there's a lot of dealerships out there you can go and buy an electric car from. But on tractors, there isn't. We have mm-hmm. one tractor maybe that's mm-hmm. 25 horsepower, and it's an amazing tractor, right?
Right.
But it's not going to replace my 450 horsepower tractor,
Right.
right? For disking. So like, that's not really equivalent. But at the same time, those deadlines is, well, you can keep driving your gas car and your diesel vehicles, your personal vehicles past that deadline. You just won't be able to buy as many. They're going to phase it out.
Right.
Ag has a completely different deadline. Ours is that date hits, no one's allowed to drive anything past that. But you're seeing they're spending thousands and millions of dollars to buy new equipment that is efficient, that's going to be outdated in 5-7 years,
Right.
when the lifespan on a tractor can be 10 to 20. So, I mean, that doesn't make sense either. So how is that fair, right? We should be at the same standard held as the public.
Yeah, and I think creating practicality in it, right?
Yeah, just hold us to the same level,
Yeah.
right? Like, we get it. You want to go electric. I mean, I'm not on board with it, but that's the hand we're dealt.
Right.
But at least treat us the same as the private sector.
Yeah. Well, yeah, give us the same pathway to success.
Exactly.
You know, I love that. We talk a lot about that of just, we're not saying don't do the thing.
Right.
We're saying do the thing right.
Yeah. Give us some time.
Yeah. And that is, I think, that perfect nexus of taking the input, taking the expertise that we all are in this industry and giving it a voice. We've carved a space. We have the seat at the table.
Yeah.
Right? So we're not on the menu anymore.
No.
I mean, they're going to try to put us on the menu.
Right.
But we've built the team. We're in place. We're at the table. And now we know what we want to order. And
Right.
it's bringing the expertise from the ground right there into that table, into that room, writing that policy and doing that thing.
And we all want to do the right things. If you look
Yeah.
at the programs like SWEEP and Healthy Soils and those through the state, we're showing to them that we want to do these. They're so overly prescribed right now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's insane how many people want to do them, and there's not enough funding for everyone.
Right.
They're amazing, great benefits for bees and health, the air and greenhouse savings. But at the same time, our policymakers aren't telling that story of how we're really doing our best, and we all really want to be involved in those things.
Right. And it's helping them tell us, making it easy for them to tell us, right?
And there are a lot of practices that you wouldn't think that maybe you're already doing that are really beneficial. And so that's that connection of like taking what we do every day, taking it to you, and then making it into this informational packet that goes then to the politicians.
Yeah, I mean, we talk so much about just making sure there's alignment and consistency in the programs. And then you know me, I don't like inefficiency drives me crazy. But it's making sure that our farmers get credit for the work that they're doing, whether it's stuff we're already doing or it's stuff that needs to be grandfathered in and acknowledged.
Right.
Better yet, give us the credit to be the leader in that space. And that's what we did, we are doing on pollinators.
Right. Exactly.
And same thing on Healthy Soils and some of these other places. I mean, where you get to actually walk in and say, okay, you want to protect pollinators? We've been doing it for 20 years without a regulation, without a government subsidy. We have the most acreage enrolled in bee-friendly farming practices. You want to be talking to us.
Yeah. They don't, and that's the thing is, sometimes as growers, we forget because we're so focused in our small little farm. Like, I'm just this is what I do every day. And it's like, hey, yeah, but you have the whole area you keep for the wildlife, right? For them to have. My dad has this whole area that doesn't get mowed. It's like protected and everything for the deer and everything. Well, that's also bee pollinator. And it has, some milkweed in there for the butterflies. And you're doing these amazing things. And now if you just realized and actually did the bee pollinator certificate, you would qualify because you're already doing all these things. You just didn't realize it. You were naturally already doing it.
Right. I think too.
So making those connections, I think is important over the next year.
Yeah, I think so. And I think too, I mean, how do you feel about, or not feel about, but how are you thinking around, or have you had any thoughts around, to that point, myself at times, definitely my family at times, where it's just, we just want to put our head down and farm and, do it as long as we can. And I think, my fear is that there's a mentality of, I'm not going to get to do this for very long, so I might as well just do what I'm doing until I'm forced out or something, that there's this sense of it's happening to me.
Not alone, because there is that just feeling alone in this giant bowl and just being this tiny little fish that no one cares about, and the politicians and the policymakers are just going to do what they want, and we have no say, so what's the point, right? What's the point? We just do this and keep moving along.
Right.
But we really don't, and that's why I really want to happen over the next year is showing that you do have a voice, and your voice is actually really strong.
Yeah.
And when we join together, we're pretty powerful. So we can do some pretty amazing things. And I think that even just over the past year, if we start really showcasing that to the growers, they'll realize that, and it's going to help self-esteem wise. We're in tough times, and it can very much feel very lonesome. And so I think that, like, almost going back to that small family community relationship, even though we're a very large industry,
but
right?
we're a very small community.
But in getting back to that, right, and leaning on each other and really getting that focus.
I so appreciate your time and your leadership, Kelli, and I know you and I, just as the farm girls, we've been like, gosh dang it, we've been working so much together. We finally just need to do this.
Yes.
And I can't thank you enough, because this is a, no pun intended, but it has been a tough nut to crack, to your point.
Yeah.
Of just the way the industry is structured.
Yes.
But I'm so excited about bringing the grower's voice into this.
Right.
And with the hullers, shellers, processors, everybody, and being able to showcase from start to finish, just the general badassery, right?
Yes.
Of the experts we have. We don't get to be the world's largest supplier of almonds by not being good at it.
Right. And that's the thing, is it's not about just a couple big growers, right? We're all growers. If you look at, the average grower is not big, and we kind of sometimes forget about that, I think.
It's true.
And so we do have power in numbers. Yeah. And that's a huge focus we need to really focus on. And if you just look, getting some of that information out that we've been doing down to the grower level more, I think it's going to be really beneficial, because just talking to my neighbors and stuff about the things that Almond Alliance do, and they're like, oh, I'm joining. Like, I didn't even know about all this stuff. Are you serious? Like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, wow, that's impressive. And I'm like, yeah. And so that's going to be just I think the big key for the committee is getting that information out to the growers in every part of the state.
For sure. And we're looking forward to more of those resources coming. In fact, as soon as we get off of this, I have a white paper I need you to look at.
Okay.
But I think that is a huge part of this too, is just making sure we're reaching the growers.
Yeah.
And that's what the committee helps to do, to be those leaders and ambassadors.
Especially if you've been in farming a long time, like my dad and stuff. The Almond Alliance was a huller sheller. So why do I need to know anything about? Why do I need And kind of we're beyond that now, right? We're maximizing ourselves, right?
Totally.
In that mentality, we just have to educate everyone that no, we're totally cool now, and we have all this amazing grower resources and stuff. So
we do.
I mean, even at that, like, there's the different workshops and things you guys provide, and I'm always like, oh, this is awesome. Exactly what I needed, right?
Right.
And it's not the one that's done by whatever organization that's very high level and just touches on things. No, it tells you exactly what you need at a grower's informational level, not some high politician speech.
Well,
right?
and like the perfect example is literally the phone call I just got off of when we saw each other a minute ago. So I was on the phone with a high-level congressional agricultural staffer who was calling me saying specifically, what will work on this type of a disaster program now that we're dealing with flooding and we're coming out of that, and how do we want to tweak this just right? And and they said, we've noticed you guys have been really quiet. And I said, well, we haven't been quiet. We're just know how to navigate all this already.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, you guys aren't really complaining. And we said, no, I can tell you right now how to make these programs work better, but we trained our industry.
Yeah.
Here's how you use the TAP program. Here's how you use ECP. Here's who you call first. Here's who you call second.
Exactly.
And we will handhold you through it.
Yeah.
And immediately it's back out to you and the grower committee. Hey, what are we hearing? What else do we need? How do we adjust that? Is there something specific? Do we need a workshop?
Right.
And being able to then take that resource back to them and say, well, here's what's working, here's what's not, here's a quick fix. This is what we're hearing in this region of the state, here's what we're hearing in this region of the state, and we can start being that granularity because of the information we're getting.
Yeah, and I think what's amazing too is, like, if you're new to the Almond Alliance or not really familiar with it, and you're looking at it and you're like, wow, they're doing all these amazing things. When you see the weekly newsletter and you're like, oh my gosh, like, they must have a massive team, right? And you're like, there's 4 of you. Like, and I'm like, I still don't understand how you guys do it. Like, they're in 2 committees we have now.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's such a small team, but it's so mighty and strong. And especially to be able to make the waves that we do and get what we need done.
Well, our motto is keep our farmers farming. So we always start there.
So it's not like other organizations sometimes in other commodities where there's a lot of money going into it and these organizations, but we're not seeing really anything come out of it because there's so much overhead. There's so many different things it's paying into. There's little overhead. Like everything's going back to the growers somehow or another.
That's the plan.
Yep.
You're going to hold me to it.
Yes, I will. You know I will.
I know you will. Oh gosh. Thanks so much, Kelli. I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
And is there anything I'm missing?
I don't know.
Did I do my job?
We could talk forever.
We could talk forever.
I don't know.
I do have more to talk about. Anyway, thank you so much. Have fun this week.
Yes, I'm super excited.
Totally excited. And this is Kelli Evans, our new awesome grower committee chair, and this has been Almond Alert.